Has faced those sorts of circumstances and times. We have never turned to a simplistic, self-involved gas bag of a candidate.
The United States of America is going through a great reckoning on a number of the facets of what it means to be an American. In the past, there were Republicans that I never questioned that their sincerity or their belief in the American system. And I think with the administration the way it's been, I think I'm not sure the man has took his oath seriously to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution.
Tom Hanks uttered just one word, and suddenly, Trump was in full meltdown mode. But why did that tiny moment hit so hard? Was it some kind of Hollywood mind game? Or did Hanks say something so effortlessly sharp that it sent Trump's entire system into panic mode?
Sincerity or their belief in the American system. And I think with the administration the way it's been, I think I'm not sure the man has took his oath seriously to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Whatever it was, it flipped a switch. And trust me, you won't believe how wild this gets. Hold on tight, because this might be the biggest shocker since Forrest Gump started running across America. I think the country is facing a real moment of truth about what it actually means to be American. I've seen Republican leaders in the past who, despite differences, truly believed in the system. But with this administration, I can't say the same.
Because the Democrats gave it to him with their behavior.
Donald Trump last night did what he wanted to do. Number one, he got on the record that his accomplishments in the first 6 weeks were fairly extraordinary, which is true, both good and bad. And number two, he taunted the Democratic Party into making a myriad of mistakes.
I'm not convinced the man in charge ever took his oath seriously to uphold and protect the Constitution. Before we break it all down, don't forget to like and subscribe so you stay in the loop, because this is about to get crazy. The guy who loves to act like nothing shakes him, oh, he's absolutely unraveling. And all it took was a single word. Not a full interview, not a comedy roast. Just one perfectly chosen word from Tom Hanks, and suddenly...
Like that. A wife who is fantastic in every way, who has taught me what love is. 5 kids who are braver and stronger and wiser than their old man is.
Weak and pathetic is a guy like that. Mama. Funny. That guy. I go on a show.
Trump is storming around Mar-a-Lago like he's about to argue with his own reflection. I'm not offended as a father or a husband. I'm offended as a man. That kind of behavior is just unacceptable. Period. At work, in private, anywhere. No excuses. This isn't just about a celebrity making a statement. It's about who said it. Tom Hanks isn't a political commentator or a media personality Trump can brush off with a nickname.
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military. And our country will be woke no longer.
He's America's dad, the man who made people cry over a volleyball, the guy who turned a box of chocolates into life wisdom, the one who could walk into any small-town diner and be offered free coffee just for being him. Hanks has built his career on being respected, avoiding controversy. So when he speaks, it carries weight, and this time, it landed like a knockout punch. First, Trump does what he always does, pretending it doesn't bother him, acting like he's too busy to care. But let's be honest, if it didn't matter, he wouldn't be rage posting online like a furious teenager. Within minutes, his digital fury is unleashed, complete with wild accusations, typo-ridden rants, and a completely random attack on Hollywood. And, of course, the classic, I never liked him anyway routine. Trump sticks to his usual playbook. First, bragging about how amazing he thinks he is, listing his so-called achievements, both real and exaggerated. Then he does what he does best, stirring up chaos. But this time, the target isn't a rival politician or a news network. It's Tom Hanks. Yes, the same Tom Hanks whose films Forrest Gump and Saving Private Ryan are probably still running in Trump's private theater. Yet suddenly, Trump's acting like Hanks was never that impressive to begin with. Then comes the classic rewrite of history. Trump starts crafting a new narrative where Hanks was never a major star. Maybe he'll claim Big flopped at the box office. Maybe he'll dismiss Castaway as just an overglorified survival show. Who knows? In a twist no one asked for, he might even argue that he deserved Hanks' Oscars. Because let's be real, Trump thinks every trophy should have his name on it. But here's the best part. Hanks doesn't even need to respond. He doesn't have to argue, defend himself, or even acknowledge the chaos. This isn't a debate. It's a one-man meltdown. The most universally beloved actor in America says a single word, and Trump acts like someone just made ketchup on steak illegal. And of course, the internet takes over. Within hours, social media explodes. Memes flood timelines, AI-generated videos pop up, and parody debates between Trump and Wilson, the volleyball, dominate the conversation. That one word gets dissected like it's the Rosetta Stone of political shade. Meanwhile, Trump, who thrives on stirring up controversy, has once again walked straight into his own disaster. All because Tom Hanks made an offhand remark. It's almost poetic. A man who lives for attention just got completely undone by someone who wasn't even trying. Nobody throws a tantrum quite like Trump. One minute, he's flexing about being untouchable. The next, boom, one word. The slightest ego bruise, and suddenly, he's spiraling like a cheap red tie in a wind tunnel. The guy who constantly calls himself the toughest, smartest, most unshakable person crumbles at the first hint of criticism. Most people wouldn't even blink at a comment from Tom Hanks. But Trump? The moment it reaches him, it's as if someone just handed him a book and asked him to read. First comes the confusion, then the outrage, and finally, the full-scale internet spectacle. And of course, it plays out exactly as expected. He scrambles to spin the moment, pretending it never happened, or, better yet, insisting he somehow came out victorious. Which brings us to Trump's definition of winning. I never claimed to be perfect, but in his world, winning isn't about logic. It's about who yells the loudest, who throws the most insults, and who can derail the conversation so completely that no one even remembers how it started. That's his go-to move. And right on cue. His next step? Full-blown attack mode. Meanwhile, Hanks was off living his best life. Probably enjoying a peaceful morning, flipping through a book, sipping his coffee, or doing quite literally anything other than thinking about Trump. And that's what made it even funnier. While Trump was flailing like a fish dumped onto the deck of a yacht, Hanks remained completely unbothered. No response. No clapback. Just pure, effortless indifference. And that, right there, is what truly eats away at Trump. Not insults, not heated exchanges, but silence. The gut punch realization that his outburst means absolutely nothing. That he's yelling into the abyss, and the abyss isn't even glancing his way. For a man who feeds off attention, that's the ultimate loss. Because no matter how many all-caps rants he fires off, no matter how many bizarre conspiracy theories he spins, no matter how loud he shouts, Tom Hanks will still be Tom Hanks. And Trump? He'll just be another guy screaming into the void, desperate for someone, anyone, to still be listening.
Tense situation with another world power, and he decided to make up.
It's like our country's being run by the maniac from Saw. You know, Donald Jigsaw Trump is running this. And of course, the big question, one of the big questions besides, are you out of your damn mind, is if you pull all the Palestinians out of Palestine, who would then...
Here we go again. Trump has ignited yet another political firestorm, and this time, it's turning into a full-blown comedy roast. The big question on everyone's mind, besides, is this actually happening? Is, if you remove all Palestinians from Palestine, who exactly is left to live there? Enter Dr. Phil and Jimmy Kimmel, an unlikely duo delivering a masterclass in dismantling Trump's latest mess. Dr. Phil came in like a therapist on Red Alert, diagnosing delusion before you could even say fake news. While Kimmel...
Donald Trump, what do you think of him? What would your diagnosis be of him?
Well, I project into the future, and I wonder sometimes just exactly how diplomacy would play out with him.
I'm not hysterical. I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. I think if you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome. And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person. This is a stupid person. And that's a bad combination. And I think what we're forgetting, I keep forgetting it, and I have to keep reminding myself, is he's not just running for president.
Question, Donald Trump, let's indulge the thought that you are going to run for the presidency of the United States in the year 2016. What's the slogan going to be?
I think my slogan would be, make America great again.
That's too long. Come on with something pithier.
No, make America great again. You're talking about 4 words. I think it's a very precise slogan. I mean, that would probably be my slogan, make America great again. Tremendous potential in this country, but we're not using it. We don't have the leadership.
Country is going to boom, just so you know.
Just specifically on the recession.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
Mr. President,
and remember, Trump is always right.
And what do you say to Americans?
If you look at what I've said over the last 10 years, Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again.
Kimmel barely even has to try. Trump's own words do the heavy lifting. Here we go again. Another day, another Trump disaster. And this time, he's walking straight into a comedic buzzsaw. Kimmel's got his highlight reel locked and loaded, featuring Trump fumbling through basic concepts like a student trying to wing it on an oral exam. Roll the footage. Trump, eyes darting, clearly grasping for the name of a world leader. Kimmel leans in. You know it's bad when you can see the buffering symbol over his head. The audience loses it. The best part? Trump knows he's being mocked. He despises it, but somehow he can't stop serving up fresh material. Whether it's Dr. Phil clinically dissecting his reality TV mindset, or Kimmel delivering another knockout punch, one thing is crystal clear. Trump may be running for president, but comedy is lapping him at every turn. Predictably, Trump fires back in the most Trump way possible. An all-caps, typo-riddled meltdown on social media, where he somehow butchers both Dr. Phil and Jimmy Kimmel's names. He calls Dr. Phil a failed hack, and Kimmel a terrible has-been, unknowingly gifting late-night TV another week of A-plus content. And speaking of spectacles, Trump's latest speech before Congress was less of a policy address and more of a self-congratulatory monologue. Because, you know, the man just doesn't get enough airtime. Every Trump speech feels less like a presidential moment and more like a national therapy session, where America collectively sighs, pours a drink, and braces for impact. Call it a joint session, an edible session, or a what pairs well with whiskey session. It's never boring, at least. Enter Dr. Phil, America's favorite tough love therapist, a man whose entire career revolves around telling people they've made disastrous life choices. He's dealt with superfans convinced they're dating celebrities, people who think they were abducted by aliens, and serial cheaters with PhD-level excuses. But even he needed a moment before attempting to untangle Trump's warped worldview. Trying to psychoanalyze Trump is like trying to explain quantum physics to a potato. Chaotic, illogical, and by the end, everything somehow makes even less sense. It's this perfect mix of clinical breakdown and razor-sharp comedy that makes Trump's takedown so impossible to ignore. His biggest problem isn't just that he has critics, it's that his critics are making airtight points. Dr. Phil dissects his behavior like an expert witness in a high-profile trial, while Kimmel's punchlines hit so cleanly that even the most diehard supporters can't unhear them. Trump can yell fake news until he's out of breath. But when America's go-to TV therapist and one of its top late-night comedians set their sights on him, the damage is brutal. There's something poetic about two men whose entire careers revolve around analyzing dysfunction, turning their attention to the ultimate case study. At their core, therapy and comedy share the same mission: to expose the truth.